Yeah.
Okay, so let's.
Yeah,
move
that was
this
pretty
guy.
effective.
Okay, listen,
Okay, so
listen,
you're a
listen,
Christian,
listen,
so you're Muslim as well.
Listen. All right. Let me
Who
walk you
am I
through.
speaking with Charles yet? Which one, Charles?
We're all Charles. Okay.
Okay. Well, no, because I
Mind
came.
Fever, I'm gonna ask you to unmute Tomer, please, man, because this guy is
Okay.
one of the.
Charles is Kathleen Tanner, but I'll move her down.
Hey, Krill.
Wait, does he have me muted?
Yeah,
What?
Wait,
So-
I'll ask.
yeah, he muted you.
Mind Fever, Tomer was trying to say something. Did you mute him?
I did, because he was.
Oh, did I get
I was-
moved?
We
I
don't
was
do
trying
that
to-
here, dude.
I-
I mean,
oh.
we're men, okay?
You-
Okay,
So
well,
you need
I
to
was
unmute
trying
him
to answer the question, and he was being
Okay,
fucking
resolve this
real quick,
obnoxious.
problem like a
Did
man.
Did you unmute Tom?
No, we need you to unmute Tom. Sorry.
Yeah, you
Okay.
need to
All
unmute
right,
him,
I'll
please.
unmute him. I'll unmute him.
Thank you.
Listen, mine.
Thank you.
Listen, mine.
You're unmuted now, Tomer.
Okay. Listen, stop over talking me then. Just jeez. You have a habit of you have what I call the juggernaut syndrome. Okay, this means that when this person starts talking, there is no force which can stop them. All right. And I understand sometimes you want to finish your thought. Sometimes you don't want to accept these interruptions, but you can't have a juggernaut mindset in these conversations. Okay. Now look, I was simply pointing something out to you, right? You reject the claim that God exists. Therefore, you're in. What?
Well, yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
See, here, there you
I
go.
reject the
Just
claim
hold.
that
Just put your hands in your
Alright.
lap for just a moment and just listen.
You know, I'm not going to be sitting here talk to you like a child. I came here to discuss something.
Oh
with somebody
boy,
in
here we go.
particular.
We're just evolving.
Okay.
Listen.
No,
Yes.
I'm sorry. You just told me to sit on my hands like I'm a fucking child.
No, I said put your hands in your lap. Just a moment. Let me finish what I was saying. Listen.
Okay.
You reject that God exists. You reject that proposition. Therefore, you're an atheist. Now, we can just go the other direction. You also reject the proposition that God does not exist. Correct?
I reject that as a statement of knowledge. Yes.
You reject it as a statement of do you have that belief then?
I don't believe that a God exists.
Oh. So, let's talk about you. Let's say you
Or rather,
believe,
I'm sorry. Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah, Charles, are you there?
I just
Shalom.
wanted to clarify.
Hey, Charles.
I am not convinced that the claim that God exists is true.
are you convinced
What will
that
convince
the
you of that claim?
Yeah,
you're not convinced the other direction either, right?
I believe that no God exists, or rather, I should say, I don't believe that any God exists. But I'm not making a claim that no God exists.
Look, I'm just asking you. You don't believe the other direction either, right?
Sure.
Okay, so you're a theist.
No, I'm not. And that's such a.
Oh, you're a pussy then. You're a
that's-
pussy who don't want to take any
Tasteless.
steps.
I'm
right,
going
guys.
Are we
for
right,
Alright, guys.
or not?
No, mind. Don't leave. Mind.
No, you know what? I've
Tasteless.
been
No, wait.
insulted like a
No,
ton
wait.
of times here.
I understand what
So
he's saying because
was-
I hold the same position.
I'm
Yeah,
My Fever, I
Mind Fever.
apologize, dude. I apologize. It
Mind
was
Fever,
just
how
a
about this?
reflex. That's it, okay?
Tasteless as a
By
Mexican.
that logic, I'm going to say all Christians are Muslims because you have the same God.
All right, hold on. Let me ask you something, Man Fever. Can you just briefly for me outline your worldview for me?
my worldview in terms of what?
Your overarching worldview.
And if anybody interrupts, Kathleen and Mindfever will be muted. So just between these two for right now.
I mean, what specifically? Because worldview encompasses so much, and so I mean, when you say worldview, what I'm
So,
thinking of,
would you like
what
me
I'm
to
thinking
define
of
it?
is, yeah. Would you define it for me, please?
Yeah, your fundamental cognitive orientation encompassing the whole of your knowledge.
Okay.
So, for instance,
Oh, okay. I
my
think I see.
worldview-
I think I see where you're going with that. I would say probably philosophical naturalism
Okay.
would be the most
I
would
would
be the
ta-
most
yeah,
cookie
I
cutter
would. Yeah, sure,
place to
sure.
put that.
I would take that as the definition.
So
That's really good.
yeah, I mean that would be as close as it gets, and of course I deviate in some areas. I'm sure because I'm not a robot, but yeah, that would be the closest.
Okay. So, from a naturalist perspective, how do you arrive at
Aliens,
the
as well
absolutes
as, like,
necessary in
everything.
order to have epistemological knowledge?
Are you saying where do the logical absolutes come from?
Well, I'm asking because some people will claim that logic is absolute. Some people will claim that logic is simply a brute force fact of nature. Some people will say, I don't know, logic is absolute, right? So you have to have some kind of functional ontology in order to make
yeah.
epistemological knowledge claims.
Yeah, so I hold that the logical absolutes are absolute in all places, in all times, in all situations, and in all possible universes. That is a total presupposition on my part, but it's a presupposition based on the logical absolutes that have to be accepted before they can be overturned.
Okay.
So it becomes a self-defeating idea.
Right. So what about other non-material things that can be absolute?
I don't know of any non-material things that can be absolute.
Well, so for instance, basic mathematical principles like primes.
Okay, basic mathematical principles are descriptions, so they're a language. So to say that mathematics is absolute,
is a prime not even lacking a description? Would a prime still not be a prime?
a prime is used to describe a concept that we observe in nature. So what we observe would be objective. I don't know that I would say absolute, because if the universe goes away, then whatever it is that we're describing goes away. But this is where it gets kind of
logic.
Well, not necessarily, because even if the universe is gone, logic still has to maintain itself. Like there still has to be logic. Logic is applicable in all times, situations, and in all possible universes.
Sure. But would you also not agree
math is a language, though. See, and that's where
you look at the symbols rather than the concept.
Right. No.
Luffy,
I
we're
understand. But the thing is
for
like,
a little while, okay.
so if there are three of a thing, okay, let's just say 3 planets, okay. Even if there were no minds to conceive of the notion of 3, there would still be those 3 planets, correct?
Right, but
okay.
If we were to take away the mind and the planet, would the notion of 3 transcendentally still not exist?
It wouldn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't exist because if there's no mind to conceive it and there's nothing to demonstrate it, then it doesn't have any meaning. And if it doesn't have any meaning, it can't exist.
Okay, so that's kind of
not that it can't exist, but it can't.
So
it can't be
you just
said to be
kind of said
absolute.
something. You just kind of said something though that takes me into the next point, right?
Sure.
Now there has to be a mind to conceive it, right? So we have two basic.
No, that's not correct. That's not what I said.
Well, that's what you just said. You just said
No,
that
that's
mind
not what I
has to
said.
be present in order to
No.
conceive of 3-ness.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry then.
What I said was, you asked me. You said if we took away the planets, so we took away the objective thing that we're observing, and we took away the mind that conceives it, does 3 still exist? And my answer would be no, because there's no way to give it definition. So even if you had a mind, there, if the object or if the thing isn't there in order to observe, right? And there isn't a mind to conceive of the thing, then it is indistinguishable from non-existence.
Wait. Why
So-
do you need both of those?
So hold on now, though.
Because the mind,
So wait a second.
the mind that conceives doesn't create the thing that is observed.
That's right.
But
So
wait a
why do
second.
you need to say that the thing doesn't exist? Period. Why?
Because that
even
was
go
was
far?
what he asked me. That was his question. He said,
So,
if we
but-
take away the planets and we take away the mind, then 3 still exists, right? No.
So, but here's my question, though. Right? You are asserting logic doesn't behave by those rules, but if we took away all of reality, if it just no longer
If you
exists,
take away all
nothing
of
exists.
reality, then nothing.
Exactly.
All right, if we
Nothing
take
would
away
mean anything.
But wait a second, if we take away all of reality, all right, if we take away all of reality,
Sure.
then can logic still exist?
That's a good question. I've never been in a situation where there was no reality, so I don't know that I could make a statement about what kind of conditions would exist in non-reality. I would say that non-reality would be a state of no conditions, so nothing could exist.
Okay, but that is to assert that logic is constitutive to reality. But a minute ago, you would say
Yeah,
that logic is not constitutive to reality.
Okay, so in order for reality to exist, there must be logic, because if you violate any of the logical absolutes, you cannot have reality.
Wait, they're absolute?
The logical, yeah, the laws of logic are absolute.
The principles of logic are absolute?
The law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law
Oh,
of excluding
fuck.
numbers.
Oh my
those
God.
three, those are completely.
We have to catch them up
absolute.
on superstates and quantum mechanics?
It doesn't matter, because superstates and quantum mechanics still conform to logic. Period.
That's false. That's false.
But it's not. It's not.
That's false.
No quantum physicist, no
So
serious.
what is a superstate?
Hold
Okay,
on.
so let's just hold on. Hang on.
It doesn't
Calm
matter
down,
what the
calm down.
super.
So you have
It doesn't
A
matter
or
what
B.
the superstate is.
Two fucking things, right? So we have A or B, right? A or
Yeah,
B.
that doesn't
Law
matter.
of identity, right? But
That doesn't matter.
One that's in a superstate. Tell me how it doesn't matter. Law of identity.
It doesn't matter, because the superstate is not both. It is either or, and it's based on our observance of it. Our non-observance of it doesn't make it either or it doesn't make it both. It is either or, and then we observe it.
Yeah, that sounds like nonsense to me.
Well, I don't care if it sounds like nonsense, because that's what it is. That you're talking about the fact that, like, quantum states can be, like, in terms of just binary language, right? Like 1 and 0. They are 1 or they are 0, and it's till we observe it that it becomes either 1 or 0. And until then, statistically, it's viewed as the same thing, right? It's both open and closed.
Wait,
right?
I'm not committed to that idea, right?
Okay.
Like, I think Schrodinger's cat has some issues, right? I think there's these ideas of superstates that have real problems, right? So I'm asking you what your position is on this.
I'm not a quantum physicist.
Right, but you think that the law of identity is absolute. That's your
law. I do believe that the law of identity is absolute.
In virtue of what is absolute? Give us the reasons for that.
The reason that the law A must equal A and A cannot equal not A.
Okay, that's reasserting the claim, right?
Yeah, no, but I'm asking you if you really want me to break down why A must equal A. Because if A didn't equal A, if A could equal not A, then things could exist and not exist at the same time.
That's right, and that's
which would be a completely null state, because if things exist and not exist at the same time, they cancel each other out.
Mind fever. Okay, so you and I are not against each other here, right? We're trying to understand each other, and I've just posited an example of a superstate where that would be the case, that would violate the laws of identity. In virtue of what does it not violate the laws of identity?
By virtue of the fact that a thing cannot exist and exist at the same time.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, right? So here's the best way of explaining it that I've heard thus far.
Or a thing cannot be a thing and not that thing at the same time.
Oh, well, but here's the thing, right? So you can have a logic gate that has two switches, that has two states, right? On
Okay.
and
Uh-huh.
off, right? But through quantum mechanics and quantum physics, we understand that a logic gate with only two settings, on or off, can be not on and not off, but a third state, which is both on and off. Right? So how does that not violate the law of identity?
I don't know. I think that there's probably a misunderstanding there. And like I said, I presuppose the laws of logic. If it can be demonstrated that the laws of logic are not absolute, then that's definitely something that we can talk about. But I don't know that that's been demonstrated yet, and I don't know of any physicist who's come out and said logic doesn't exist at the quantum level.
No. Wait, hang on. But we're talking about classical forms of logic. There's all sorts of different logic. There's fuzzy logic, there's paraconsistent logic, there's all kinds of logic, right? You're merely talking about classical forms of logic. When you talk about something not violating the laws of logic, as you call them, right? I would call them the principles of logic, but I would call them the principles of classic logic. Paraconsistent logic and fuzzy logic do not follow the same rules. So
Okay.
I don't understand like why the contention with identity when even given classical logic we can demonstrate
Well, I
that
mean,
there's some
you don't even
superstate that violates that law.
you don't even really need to get to the quantum level for that. I mean, you can just take a look at light, right? Light's a particle and a wave, right?
Right. So why are you contending that?
Because light can exist as a particle and a wave. That is its identity.
Right, but
So
two
when we're
states
looking
that
at
are contradictory.
when we're looking at a quantum particle,
I think what
We
you're
are
saying
looking
though
at
is that
a
they
thing
can
that
be
has-
described as a particle or a wave.
That's right.
yeah, it can be
Yeah.
described as a particle and a wave. But that
There's
doesn't.
a difference though.
They
But
can be
there's-
both, actually.
Yeah, well, that's
Well,
what I'm
it's-
saying, and that's a description of its identity. And like I said, I'm not a quantum physicist, so I don't know about quantum mechanics or anything
Actually, a wave is
like that.
is a bunch of particles with mass.
But my
Right, which
bigger
is
question.
contradictory.
Well,
I don't know that it's contradictory, but my bigger question is, what does this have to do with the God question?
Well, sure. I mean, it
You know,
has all kinds of implications.
That's really the only. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, in that it doesn't
So
get us any closer to God.
well,
Right.
Let me
I
ask
think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of something also. You said something about A can't equal not A because if it did, they would cancel each other out. But
Right.
if A equaled not A, you want to say that they'd cancel each other out. So what would A equal then?
Non-existence.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't equal not A,
fuck.
right? I mean, because that's the law of excluded middle,
If
right? A must
if
equal
if they cancel each other out, what does A equal then?
it would be nothing. It would be null.
okay.
I mean,
So A would
you
equal
can't.
not A.
No, it wouldn't even equal not A because there wouldn't be anything not
Why
A for it to
would it
equal.
not equal not A? Why would it equal not A? If they're canceled, then presumably that option is not available to us.
I think he's talking about absolute nothing.
Well, hang on. Just let him
Yeah,
explain his
that's what I'm
position.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That if A
So,
must
wait a
always
minute.
equal A.
So,
A
wait a
contradicts
minute.
itself.
So you're saying that these sort of identities exist on a gradient between A and not A? That there's some sort of in-between state
No,
that they can have?
no.
Okay,
see,
then what
but
are you saying?
that's the point. That's the point. Is it cannot happen, right?
Oh,
So when
what's
you
the
say
argument for that?
the argument for that would be that it just cannot happen. You cannot
Oh,
have
no,
something.
That's
You
reasserting the claim,
listen.
dude.
No,
Make
that's
the
no, it's
argument
not.
for it.
That's not.
Just make
The argument is a thing is itself. A thing is A rock is a rock. A rock always
You're
equals a rock.
reasserting the claim. What's the
No.
premises that lead to the conclusion? What's the argument? You know what an argument it is, right? You know what an argument is? Premises that lead to a conclusion? What's the argument?
These are tautologies.
No.
Yeah,
We're
these are
asking for an
tautologies.
argument.
No, but I don't have an argument because it's a tautology. It's a basic fundamental fact.
But,
That's it.
Jesus
I
Christ.
mean, that's just all there is to it. If you can demonstrate to me a thing
Look,
that
hey.
equals the opposite of itself, then we can say the law of identity.
Mind fever. I got a tautology for you, right?
Sure.
God exists, therefore God exists, right? If God is true, God is true.
Okay. Demonstrate it.
I don't need to. It's a tautology, bruh.
But it's not a tautology, bruh.
Sure it is.
No, it's not, because there is no condition that is currently demonstrated to be dependent or contingent upon God. But everything is contingent upon identity. Everything is contingent upon identity.
No, what the fuck does that have to do with anything, dude?
I think
because
he's trying to say is that
tasteless,
what he said was a genuine
tasteless, dude. I gotta mute you if you jump in here because you're about to drop like a turd in a punch bowl here. What were you saying? Mind fever?
That it's not a tautology because it cannot be demonstrated that that God is necessary, or that anything is necessarily contingent on God, or it has not yet been demonstrated.
What do you take to be a tautology?
A tautology is a basic fundamental fact that must be accepted in order for there to be existence.
That's an excellent dude.
God is necessary.
God is the absolute necessary precondition for everything.
Demonstrate it.
The impossibility of
because
the
we can, because the impossibility of the inverse has to be demonstrated. That and
What?
nobody has ever demonstrated the impossibility of the inverse. Not William Lane Craig.
Nobody's demonstrated the possibility of the inverse.
No, but that's what I'm saying is you're getting into these William Lane Craig and these Matt Slick and
Whoa, buddy.
arguments. So
look, you're getting into these Matt Dillahunty,
sure,
Graham Harris arguments.
But the point that I'm making is that these arguments are just asserted, right? The arguments by William Lane Craig are just asserted. We have to accept God because of the impossibility of the inverse, or the impossibility of I don't know how he says it. The impossibility of the contrary. Thank you. I always want to say conjugate, and that I know that's not right. But the impossibility of the contrary has never been demonstrated. But you cannot have anything exist if it does not have identity, if it does not equal itself. And that's the point. That's why this is a tautology, but the claim God exists and everything depends on it is not.
What? How could a thing be a thing without God?
You have to demonstrate that a thing can exist without, or that a thing cannot exist without God.
Wait a minute. You're the one making the positive claim.
I'm making the positive claim in the laws of logic.
Right. Look, so you've just look. So hang on, mind fever. Before you get frustrated, listen.
No, it's too late, man. It's too late.
No, it's all right.
You're the one that's making the positive claim.
Listen. These things.
What is my positive claim? What is my positive claim?
Stop. Listen. I agree with you. These things are frustrating, right? So when we talk about the laws
what
of
is
logic,
my positive claim?
Just stop. Listen to me.
Hold on.
Right?
No, before we even get into that, tell me what my positive claim is.
Your claim was that things don't need God to exist, right?
Well, that's not what he said.
Exactly.
That was not my claim. I have never said that. I never said that.
No, he didn't.
Stop. Listen. Mind fever. You're talking about when we were talking about what the laws of logic are, right? And you said that you don't have a full accounting for them. You can talk about their like ontology, in virtue of do you have these epistemic access to these things, et cetera, right? But it could be the case that these things are prescriptive and exist in some way or obtain in some shape or form that's unknown to you, right? It could be the case.
Is it possible? Is that a
Yes.
possibility? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Sure, it's possible. How do you demonstrate that?
Okay, I don't think that you can. Right?
Then
I
you
take
cannot make the claim,
listen,
or you cannot say that this claim should be accepted.
No,
and-
listen.
unless
listen,
you can demonstrate.
Listen.
So
I think
here's
you're
the
trying
thing,
to
and this
forecast
is
where I'm going with this, and
no,
it's not
this
working
is.
out.
I want to go back to the nothing can exist without God.
No, stop.
That people
You're
were saying.
taking us on a left turn.
No,
You're
I'm
taking us on a
not.
left turn.
Well, okay, because that's what was said, right?
Either we pursue the same conversation, or
Okay.
you just flip the table and quit.
Are those
What
my
do you want to
options?
do?
Is
What do
that
you want to
what-
do? Yeah,
Michelangelo,
what do you
you
want to
made
do?
the claim that nothing can exist without God.
What do you want to do? Do
Well,
you want to flip the
I
table, or do you want to pursue your line of reasoning?
I thought we were still talking about. I thought we were still talking about the same thing because that objection came up.
Okay, what?
Right?
What?
So here, hold on. You
hang on.
just continue. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Look, let's just restart because clearly I don't want everybody here to just like, so we can fork the conversation. We can go down these different
Let's
routes.
just continue what you're saying. Let's continue going with what you're going with.
Okay, so what is let's just ask you this question. What is and let's go back to this, and I know you've already answered it, but given the questions I've been asked you subsequently, what is your idea about what the laws of logic are?
The laws of logic, as we understand them, are observations of how things work in the universe. They're descriptions of how things work in the universe. And those things work in all times, in all places, and in all situations. And that is, I am perfectly willing to admit, is a presupposition. But the only way that you can logically overcome them is to accept the logical absolutes. And that makes it a self-defeating
But wait a minute.
proposition.
You're saying that they're absolute, right?
Yeah.
And also at the same time presupposing. So you're just saying these things work in all times and all places. And hang on.
I presuppose that
I let you talk. I let you talk. And then I provided the defeater.
The reason why
you provided defeat. I provided a defeater. I provided you with an example.
The reason why I'm interrupting you is because I'm trying to correct what you said. If I don't correct what you said,
right, you've got to stop. Okay, the idea is that I've provided you with an example that violates the laws of logic, and you haven't adequately addressed that. So right now we're come full circle right back to where we started. So what's your answer to that?
You've got to stop. Okay? You made an incorrect statement. Okay? I needed to clarify it. You have to give me the ability to clarify. I presuppose that the logical absolutes are absolute. Okay? They may not be, but I have not there's no demonstration of anything, even your example, that violates those absolutes. Okay? Because your example is not your example, for one thing, is, and I have to admit it right here, I'm not a quantum physicist. I know very little about quantum physics. Okay? But no quantum physicist has ever come out and said that the laws of classical logic are violated by quantum logic. Okay? And we know that physics is absolute. Newtonian physics is absolute in the universe at large. Okay? And that quantum physics takes place at the subatomic level. Okay, but quantum physics does not negate Newtonian physics. So quantum logic does not negate classical logic. It's the same thing, because it asserts itself at a higher than subatomic level. Okay, but the question that I have, because this is all smokescreen, what does this have to do with God?
So we're now taking a left turn in this conversation. We're no longer having the same conversation. I asked you about the laws of identity. I gave you an example, and now you're asking me what this has to do about God, but you've still not addressed the same.
Here's why. Here's why I haven't. Here's
a bunch of words.
Here's why I haven't.
You got to stop, dude. I let you talk.
Go ahead.
Now, I
say
let
your
you
piece.
Talk, sweetheart.
Go ahead.
And now you've got to be quiet and listen to me for a little bit. I know it pains your ass, but you got to listen to me for a little bit. So until you address the idea that quantum states, superstates specifically, violate the classical laws of identity, we can't move from here. So you can ask what stop.
Yeah, we can.
Calm it.
Okay.
Calm
Go
down.
ahead.
Calm
Go ahead.
down.
He's the
So
juggernaut.
until you address that, we can't move on from here.
Okay,
Your
I'm
turn.
not addressing it. Okay, because I'm not a quantum physicist and I don't fully understand how the laws of quantum logic work.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm not addressing it. But the reason I came here was I was invited here by someone else who said that theism is a stupid position because there's no, or the person is a theist because there's nothing to support atheism. Okay, and then when we talked about that, or when we hold on, princess, don't interrupt. Somebody's talking here. Okay. When we said, hey, that's not right, you're
But
straw
you're not
manning
being
the
very
issue.
clear.
Okay, what do you mean I'm not being very clear? The point is that I came here to talk about whether or not atheism is a correct response to the God claim. Okay, and you guys want to talk about quantum physics and excluded metal and all that. Here's the thing. I am perfectly willing to admit my ignorance on a lot of different issues. Okay, I only have a bachelor's degree education and it was in physical science. Okay, so there's a lot of shit that I don't know, and I get that, and I'm sure that's a lot of shit that you guys know that I'm not even going to know what the terms are. Okay,
Be
but it
happy
still
to
boils.
flesh them out for you.
Okay, well, it still boils down to why should I believe in God? That's the only question that I'm concerned with.
Well, make you a better
The
person.
real question is, why do you start from a worldview that is a not God worldview?
I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about right now. I'm not talking about in the past. You've decided that you are going to examine the evidence under your worldview, right?
Yeah.
From your perspective, with your rules, your guidelines, to see if the evidence is sufficient to satisfy your criteria for what is true. Isn't that correct?
When you say your criteria, it seems like what you're saying is by my personal definition, things are, and I don't do that.
What?
So my criteria for examining evidence is basically the same as the criteria for the scientific method. What I'm looking at is
that's fine. We understand
is it evidential? And okay, so I because I don't want you to think that I'm using just some subjective well, I didn't see it, so it obviously didn't happen. I mean, that's not where I'm at. I'm the criteria that I want for evidence is the same criteria that we would demand for any claim ever.
So if you're going to be using the scientific method as your approach to reality, there's some assumptions that you'll need to make about reality, correct?
Assumptions like what?
The uniformity of nature, the assumption that your cognitive faculties are reliable.
Sure.
You need to make the assumption
for
causality.
You don't need to make the assumption that your cognitive faculties are reliable because
that's no.
And the reason why I say that,
there's not even a need for you to defend.
I'm sorry. Did I talk? Did somebody tell me not to interrupt?
Oh my God, this guy. Just let Mind Fever talk.
Would you just let me say what I'm going to say, and I'll give you a chance? Jesus.
Jesus.
Now the reason why I say is it's not dependent on my cognitive ability or that my cognitive functions are accurate, is because I'm also going to present it to other people's cognitive functions. Now I do have to assume that other people have functional cognition. Okay, so I do have to assume that, but it's not necessarily dependent on myself.
How would you interpret what other people's are experiencing? Would you be using your cognitive faculties to interpret that?
Well, sure, yeah.
He's saying he needs to presuppose like other people's sense perception, but that's still an assumption of
I need to
like,
prove.
sense
I need to
perception. Are you
presuppose.
kidding?
Yeah.
Like you're no, but you're still assuming sense perception that way.
Yeah,
Like,
I do
you're,
need. I
you're
do
like,
need,
well, I'm not assuming sense perception. What I'm doing is I'm assuming sense perception. I'm just doing
you're
it through like a
correct.
different
You're
assumption.
correct.
Like, that's
You're
ridiculous.
correct.
So how does
You're correct.
atheism account
That's
for
a really dumb technicality, dude.
How does
wasn't even worth wasting the attention.
atheism account for the reliability of your cognitive faculties, for causality,
It doesn't.
for the principles of logic?
It
what?
doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't account for any of that.
But hold on a second. What is knowledge? Or how would you define knowledge?
Dream.
Knowledge is information that we can. I've heard a lot of different definitions of knowledge, and I'm not sure that I agree with all of them. There's people who say it's reasonably justified belief, and I don't know that that's true, because there are beliefs that we can hold that we think are reasonably justified.
Reasonably, I think that would be a terrible.
He doesn't know if that's true.
Well, I don't think that it's. I don't necessarily think that that's a good description, because we can be justified in believing something that isn't true. You know, I mean,
certainly.
based on the evidence that's available. So I don't think justified true belief is a good description. For me, I would say things that we can demonstrate logically and empirically to be factual would be knowledge. That's
really.
I mean, that's
you mean Wait. You just defined it as justified true belief then.
No,
if it's factual, it's true, right? If it's factual, it's true, right? You just reworded justified true belief.
Yeah, not only that, but he said the problem with justified true belief is the fact that we can believe untrue things. Well, untrue things aren't true, so that.
I'm sorry. You were quiet.
True.
You said untrue things are what?
True things are true, and untrue things are untrue. The idea,
right?
The problem with justified true belief is that we can believe things that are untrue is just asinine, because those things wouldn't be knowledge.
Well, hold on.
So why is
Can
that a
I
problem
give
with the
you?
definition of knowledge?
Because your definition of knowledge appeals to an absolute, which is unattainable.
Shush.
You
guys get to yell at him.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and accept.
No. I want to know how come I have to shush, but the rest of the peanut gallery can talk.
I don't
That's
think
bullshit.
that. I don't think that. I don't think that based on what the objections that you guys have said, because I didn't. The last guy who was talking about, you just said that it was justified true belief.
You did, right?
Yeah,
you said that you don't think the justified true belief is a good definition of knowledge because you don't know that it's true. And then you defined knowledge essentially as justified true belief. You just used words like fact and shown with evidence.
Sure.
JJ, not only that,
do you mind letting me finish the sentence?
The fact that sometimes
do you mind letting me finish my sentence?
Right.
Do you mind letting me finish what I was going to say?
Mind fever. Are facts true?
Well,
are facts true, sir?
I believe the facts are true. But can I finish what I was going to say?
Go ahead, Mind fever. Go ahead.
What I was going to say is, based on what that guy just said about justified true belief, and I think he's the one that just interrupted me when I was just going to concede that yes, you're probably correct.
Good.
That yes, justified true belief is probably the closest definition I have to knowledge.
So would you consider?
I don't know if there's a better one out there.
Would you consider your beliefs in your cognitive faculties, your belief in causality, and your belief in the principles of logic to be knowledge under that definition? If they're lacking in justification,
I would say. I'm sorry. Could you repeat the things? Because I got cognitive ability.
Yeah, I know.
Logical absolutes, and then what were the other things?
So causality, your cognitive faculties, and the principles of logic, right? These are the axioms that you assume in your worldview. But in order for them to be considered knowledge, they would require justification. But it doesn't seem like there's an ultimacy of reality that we're using for justification of these three things. So that's why my concern is whether or not the basis for your reality can be considered knowledge.
What is the basis of reality? Is that what you're talking about? Or is what I don't think that it is knowledge. I don't think that it is knowledge, because like I said, I presuppose the logical absolutes because they seem to work at all times. You're just saying that it's coherent for you, that
You can't have a reason to presuppose something.
Yeah, they're just presuppositions. So the concern is,
okay. Well, then,
if they
let me reiterate that, because my senses have always represented my reality as true insofar as I can demonstrate that it's true. So to put that in easier terms, my senses have always shown me that the stove was hot because whenever I've touched the stove, it's been hot.
yeah, that's chronology, right? That's not causality, right?
No.
Causality would be
What I'm
something
saying,
else.
what I'm saying is that you're asking me how I justify reality, or how I justify the basis of reality. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you, what is your ultimacy of reality?
Can you define ultimacy for me?
That which there can be no greater, that is, cannot be wrong.
My senses.
But
and
we've
do
already
presuppose
demonstrated
that
that
Your senses can't be wrong?
Just the Munchausen
No,
trial, dude.
my
You're not gonna
senses
let it
my
go.
senses are more reliable than
Can your senses be wrong?
Yes, sure.
Okay, well, there
this
goes
is the
that.
problem. If your senses
no.
could be wrong, then you can't have knowledge in your worldview.
No, that's
Oh,
incorrect.
no.
That's incorrect.
Knowledge, if we
That is
define knowledge,
incorrect.
it's impossible.
Yeah,
knowledge,
exactly.
Knowledge
exactly.
is defined in a way in which you could not be wrong about it.
No, it's not. That's not what knowledge is at all.
you take to
You just hold on. Stop.
We define mind fever. You define knowledge as justified true belief. If
that
it's
is not
true, then it can't be wrong.
No, it's justified.
No, excuse me.
That's
you
the
said
question.
justified true.
So listen, hold on.
If it's true,
Stop.
You're
stop
forgetting
for a
about the
second.
true part, Mind
Stop.
Fever.
Justified belief. Okay, then let's just say justified belief.
Justified belief.
He hasn't given his definition.
Justified belief.
Christ,
There's a lot of over talking going on. Can we have two beliefs that are justified but contradictory?
I don't think so. I don't think that's possible.
I
think that people can believe things, can hold contradictory beliefs in their minds at separate times.
Can they have justifications for those beliefs?
It depends on what they're using for the justification. But
silly. Hey, can your wife love you and hate you? Come on, man.
What do you think love and hate are exclusionary?
I don't think that they can.
Justified belief is nowhere near sufficient to satisfy the criterion of knowledge.
As I said, the knowledge definition you're using renders knowledge impossible.
All right, so here's what we'll do.
Crap.
Look, if you see a tiger in the woods, are you justified in thinking it's going to attack you?
I think that's a good justification. I think that's a reasonable assessment of the situation.
Okay.
Whether or not it's true, is completely irrelevant.
Okay, hold on. So you said you have justification for a belief, but whether or not it's true is completely irrelevant to whether or not it's justified.
In your situation that you just offered, if you encounter a tiger in the woods, well, you know what? If you're gonna play this flip-flop game, you gave me a situation.
The flip-flop game?
Yeah.
You're redefining words.
No, he's not.
Words don't have an inherent definition. Words are descriptions for thoughts.
Excuse me, sir. Please calm down.
No, fuck you. You calm down.
Whoa, buddy.
That's a microaggression.
You know, I've been getting interrupted and then being yelled at for being interrupted. I've been treated like
sir.
I've been treated. No, don't fuck.
Yeah,
you.
this
Don't
guy is
patronise
correct
me.
here.
Please,
Mind Fever is correct, and this is the only guy who knows what's up.
Chase us immediately.
So here's the thing. Knowledge is facts, information, skills acquired by a person through experience, education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. It is the awareness or familiarity gained by experience of a fact or information. True, justified belief.
Boy.
What do you want?
Everybody has access to the Google definition. We're talking about a philosophical context.
Yeah, I think
we're having an argument that could be reduced modally. You're not going to use a colloquial definition from Google and reduce that down in a modal argument. That's just ridiculous.
I'm not having a modal argument. I'm not. If that's what we're into, that's not what I'm doing. I don't give a shit about.
Well, he asked you about an ultimacy. Like he was asking you, like, what is your justified belief that
justification for reality?
Look, Mind Fever.
My justification. my justification for reality.
Look, mind fever, bud. Listen.
Just because I don't have anything, so
Mind
let's
fever,
go
bud.
ahead and concede that point. I have no justification for reality.
Hold on. Let's listen to Mind Fever. Go ahead, Mind Fever.
I have no justification for reality. Okay,
You're self-immolating.
I have zero.
Thank you.
Hold on. Shut up.
The atheist position has been reduced down to self-immolation.
Okay.
Look, mind fever.
Fucking princesses.
Listen, you have no justification.
Okay, shut up! Let him talk.
Bud,
sir,
listen. When you're in the barber chair getting your hair cut, you know, he might be really impressed with this Matt Dillahunty Atheist 101 stuff, but you're playing with the big boys, buddy, okay? It's not gonna fly here.
Look, Mind Fever.
Hey, Tomer.
I am so close to leveling up right now.
Yeah, what's up, bud?
Like just enough XP to do the job. So let's keep going.
let me put it this way.
Pronounced
You guys can you guys can rip apart my worldview all you want. Okay? I am perfectly willing to say I don't have a justification for it. That's fine.
You can't know anything.
No, it's not that I can't know anything, because I experience things and I can build knowledge based on experience, right? Because knowledge is not.
Look, dude. The ultimacy of your reality lacks justification. You could be wrong about anything. Do you understand how you emulate?
Sure, but here's the thing: by demonstrating that, you don't show that your position is correct. And that's what we're talking about here.
Is that true?
Atheism, yeah, because
by
you're
making
not,
that statement, by you making the statement that you can't know anything, it is like a dog returning to his own vomit.
For one thing,
it is a self-defeating statement.
That's the point that you're trying to convince him of.
You're
Here he
making
comes,
him
back. Here he comes,
your
back
own
to his own vomit.
can't know anything.
Here he comes again.
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Maybe it'll taste better the second time, bud.
He can't even defend his position.
No.
Well, the thing is that in my position, being indefensible is not a support of your position.
It's a tu quoque. What he's done here now is said, Krellman, Mr. Krellman.
Here's the thing. It's not a tu quoque fallacy. It's not. It's not, because I'm not making a fucking claim.
Neither can you.
You fucking retard.
Sir, please. You've made the claim that you can critique and analyze my worldview for evidence supporting the hypothesis that there is a God.
Even though I have no definition or justification for reality, it doesn't change the fact that when you touch a fucking stove, it's hot. It doesn't change shit. It doesn't change anything. How do you justify your position?
This is all gobbledygook. You're being completely unreasonable.
How I sounded earlier with the
Yeah, my fever. Yeah, show them, dude. You're correct. Let them know, dude.
Mind Fever, you have no ultimacy of reality. Every statement that you make in your worldview
I do have an ultimacy of reality. I have cognition, and the cognition is able to.
You could be wrong about that.
But so could you.
See,
hold on, stop for a second.
So do you.
Hold on for a second. I just got accused.
Excuse me, sir.
No, fuck off. I just got asked. I just got accused of making a two-cocaine profile. Yeah, I'm going to fucking overtalk you because you fucking retards don't know how to ask a question and then wait for a fucking answer.
Because you won't answer questions.
I've tried to explain my position 5 different times, and you guys keep interrupting me. No, fuck you.
Sir.
No, fuck you.
Hey, how about this? Fuck you too. We can play 2K too.
That's what you guys are doing. That's what you guys are doing. I just got accused.
And when you get exposed for the liar that you are, you say, so do you. That is not how you put together an effective worldview. Nobody's going to be convinced.
I don't know you guys shit. Fuck off.
Nobody's going to be convinced by that.
Run away, huh?
Take care, buddy. Oh my God, that was great.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing.
That was fucking great.
Guys, sit back and let me do my work, okay?
Well,
sorry, dude.
I had to mute Ludic. I had to mute
So
Taste.
many interrupters.
I'll spoil everything.
I couldn't help it.
Fucking people laughing on open mic.
JJ fucking it up. Jesus Christ, you guys are all horrible. You guys are just horrible.
Yeah, I didn't
fucking
mute fast
perfect.
enough. It was so
Did
fucking
anybody
hilarious.
get that on recording? Fiction Fighter, Bacon?
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Chum did.
Oh, fuck.
yeah.
So good.
Thank fuck for that, man. I couldn't get the bot working.
Did you level up, Krill?
I say he did. I say he did.
Krill, did you see my prediction?
No.
He could powder keg.
Oh, yeah.
And more importantly, I got here late. Whoever has the recording, upload that shit to YouTube like yesterday.
Yeah, I got it too.
Thank you.
Please
Upload
do.
it to YouTube. I love you all.
That was fucking beautiful.
Shut the fuck up!
Shut up!
Missile blow up.
Yeah.
I don't owe you shit!
God damn it!
It was a good one.
Declan would have ruined it.
Oh, apparently he's muted and whining in chat now. He turned into a text bitch.
Oh, fuck.
How long did it take to get him to blow up? Because I got here like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, what up, King Autism?
About that long.
Not that long.
Okay.
Yeah, I've only been here for about 10 minutes too.
God damn it. Krill literally started in on him
You can
right
listen to it
after
later.
fucking
Declan.
Seth got here. Oh my god, that was perfect.
Sir, please calm down.
Catalina, you think you could do any better? Chat bitches get stitches. You know what they say.
You know what? I'm not stupid enough to debate you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know better.
Are you finally?
No, because all you
caught
got to
on,
do is do a
Catalina?
circular reasoning circle jerk and abductio ad absurdum reality, and then claim
You don't even know
won
what you're
because-
talking about.
Abductio ad absurdum.
Catalina, you don't even know what you're talking about.
And it's a
I
false
don't think you know
dichotomy
what's gonna
too,
be
right?
made.
Oh,
Yeah.
and being a condescending bitch, you think it's gonna make me
Hold
angry?
on. Where was the circular reasoning?
Dude, is
I
he
don't
gonna
need to do
power
anything
kick
to
right
make you
now?
angry.
Let him speak. Where was
Oh,
the
sorry,
circular
I
reasoning?
misspoke. You were going around in a circle with these arguments, attacking him over and over with the same fucking arguments while
So
rewording
circular
them.
arguments, you meant attacking him over and over.
Yeah, I have to concede. I mean, Catalina Catalina has the patience of a turtle, dude. It's very patient.
No, I don't have any patience with apologists because you can suck my dick.
Well, you don't have any character there.
Just told you to suck
you
his dick,
need
tasteless.
some
Do it.
testicles, dude.
Are you gonna look at
I don't have any
You could
patience with
fucking stomp
apologists
this
because
bitch.
apologists are liars.
These guys aren't apologists, dude. They're fucking trolls. You stupid motherfucker. You've been trolled all the fucking day. And you don't
Even
even
doesn't
realize.
won't
Well,
wipe
Tasteless.
for Catalina.
Let's be real, Tasteless. Catalina is trolling himself or herself, whatever it is. Maybe Catalina would like to speak with Seth, since Seth is unaware of the wisdom you can provide.
Oh, this is perfect.
Oh, goody. Is that true, Catalina? Do you have wisdom? Hello?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, that was beautiful.
Holy shit, that is unacceptable, dude. What
That
the
that
fuck?
that
Yeah,
epitomizes
you're-
what
you're
comes
muted,
out of
Catalina.
Catalina's mouth.
I mean, the
Actually.
education.
Yeah.
Holy
It's a
shit.
pretty apt summary of Catalina.
Yeah, it's
Now, I had
Just-
a PhD theology major in the chat room, and Catalina asked him, with her one chance there, the question she chose was, what would God do if I forced him to suck my dick? That was the decision.
No,
by Catalina.
I appreciate.
Inspired.
Sometimes I wonder if I even want to associate with Christians because of how stupid I think they are.
Hey, watch it. All right, I take that highly offensively.
I'm serious. I think I'm better associated with Christians than I am with some of these internet atheists.
I really did fuck, that was hilarious. I don't think that justified true belief is a good definition because I don't know that it's true. But it's, what did he say?
Oh, my favorite part.
How bizarre
when-
was that? He said
knowledge is things that can be demonstrated to be factual.
How bizarre is that? He says
I
the
messaged
problem.
him on Facebook. He says, so you refused to continue talking in the forum because people were dogpiling on you. I thought you and I were going to have a one-on-one. And I said, we did. He said, no, we didn't. There was a whole slew of people there dogpiling on me. I said, I'm the last person you spoke with that triggered you. You'll be on YouTube in 15 minutes making a fool out of atheism. Repent or perish, Dave.
I loved when Michael was like, oh, so you're okay with circular arguments. God exists because God exists. And he goes, that's not circular. And we got
I think it
away
was
from it. I really
totality,
wanted him to fucking say that. Just continue saying it.
And Catalina, don't think you're safe. You're just too dumb for anybody to have a real conversation with. So we put you on the back burner for a while.
Nilka?
But I'll find some joy in it. Again, probably. After this.
How the fuck are you audience to that entire conversation that just happened and still think that we're all a bunch of theists and apologists?
Well, I'm a theist.
I'm a theist as well, actually.
How are you listening to that conversation and go, all they did was make one guy angry, they didn't prove anything?
I don't give you permission to post me on YouTube. If you post it, I will have it flagged.
Who said that?
The guy we just had in here.
He's
We
in a
don't need your
server.
permission.
Oh my no! Tell him to fuck off. Say 18 USC 2511. You stupid bitch.
Wait, what is
Actually,
it?
You didn't inform him yet. You were recording him.
It's 18
Doesn't matter if we-
USC 2511.
25. All right, 18
one
USC
party
2511.
recorder state.
Yeah, and tell him to go fuck himself.
The
See you,
2,000 person
losers.
Discord, and that person is basically in a public area, public space. You can be recorded in public. Public is defined as spaces with over 200 or more people.
Catalina bailed. That's too bad.
Catalina, reduced to absurdity.
You guys think we're too hard on people in here?
No.
False.
Look, if it's the reverse, if they had some stupid ass fucking Christian come inside their
Wow.
server, it would be just as bad.
Catalina actually left the server.
The thing that you have to do, though, you have to get people invested in the conversation. You can't just blow on them right at the beginning because then they have nothing invested and they can just bail. If
You guys
they
want to hear a good
spend
time? I
like
got
20,
the part where
30
he starts
minutes,
freaking out.
they get invested in it, and then when you blow up on them, they don't know what to do because if they just leave right there, it's just like they wasted all this time. So they have to fight back with everything that they have in them to try to win so that they don't lose the investment that they've made. And then they just they realize that there's no fucking saving it, and they go all out and they lose it.
You guys want to hear the freakout?
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet.
Yeah, well, you want to.
Flip-flop, Dave. You're redefining words. Words don't have an inherent definition. Words are descriptions for thoughts. Excuse me, sir, please, calm down. No, fuck you. You calm down. Whoa, buddy. That's a micro. You know, I've been getting interrupted and then being yelled at for being interrupted. I've been treated like, sir. I've been treated. No, fuck you. This Don't guy be is correct correct here. Please, So my theory is correct, and this is the only guy who knows what's up. So here's the thing. Knowledge is facts, information, skills acquired by a person through experience, education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. It is the awareness or familiarity gained by experience of a fact or information. True, justified belief. What do you want? Everybody has access to a Google definition. We're talking about a philosophical context. Yeah, I think we're having an argument that could be reduced modally. You're not going to use a colloquial definition from Google and reduce that down in a modal argument. That's just ridiculous. I'm not having a modal argument. I'm not. If that's what we're into, that's not what I'm doing. I don't give a shit about. Well, he asked you about an ultimacy. Like he was asking you, like, what is your justified belief? Ultimate justification for reality. Look, my justification for reality. Hold on. Listen. Just because I don't have anything, so let's go ahead and concede that point. I have no justification for reality. No. Let's listen to my reality. I have no justification for reality. Okay, I have zero. Thank you. Hold on. Shut up. Has been reduced down to self-emulation. Okay.
Look, mind fever.
Hold on a second. I gotta go back to that part.
Hold on.
Please link me that.
Just because I don't have anything, so let's go ahead and concede that point. I have no justification for reality. No, hold on. Let's listen to my reason. I have no justification for reality.
Here it comes.
Okay, I have zero. Thank you. Hold on. Shut up.
Truly beautiful.
Declan's laugh.
Look, you fucking princesses. Listen, have no justification. Okay, shut up! Let him talk. Sir, please. Listen, sir.
When you're in the barber chair getting your hair cut, he might be really impressed with this Matt Dillahunty atheist. You okay? It's not gonna fly.
Yeah. With mind fever. Hey, Tomer, I am so close to leveling up right now, and you look like just enough XP to do the job. So let's go. Let me put it this way. You guys can rip apart my worldview all you want. Okay? I am perfectly willing to say I don't have a justification for it. That's fine. You can't know anything. No, it's not that I can't know anything, because I experience things and I can build knowledge based on experience, right? Because knowledge is not. Look, dude, the ultimacy of your reality lacks justification. You could be wrong about anything. Do you understand how you emulate? Sure, but here's the thing: by demonstrating that, you don't show that your position is correct, and that's what we're talking about here. Is that true? Atheism, yeah, because you're not that statement. By you making the statement that you can't know anything, it is like a dog returning to his own. For one thing, it is a self-defeating statement. That's the point that you're trying to convince him of. You're defeating your own argument. You can't know anything. Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Maybe it'll taste better the second time, but.
No, well, the thing is that in my position being indefensible is not a support of your position. Kralman, Mr. Kralman. Here's the thing. It's not a two-cocaine fallacy. It's not.
Oh, he goes crazy here.
I'm not making a fucking claim. Neither can you. You fucking retard. Sir, please. You made the claim. You can critique and analyze my worldview for evidence supporting the hypothesis that there is God. Even though I have no definition or justification for reality, it doesn't change the fact that when you touch a fucking stove, it's hot. It doesn't change shit. It doesn't change anything. You justify your position. This is you're being completely unreasonable. I sounded earlier with the my fever. Yeah, sure.
Oh my God, you guys.
Let him know, dude. Mind fever, you have no ultimacy of reality. Every statement that you make, I do have an ultimacy of reality. I have cognition, and the cognition is able to. You could be wrong about that. But so could you. See, it's a hold on, stop for a second. So do you. Hold on for a second. I just got accused. Excuse me, sir. Fuck off. I just got accused of okay about you're fucking over talking because you fucking retards don't know how to ask a question and then wait for a fucking answer. Because I tried to explain my position. I tried to explain my position 5 different times, and you guys keep interrupting me. No, fuck you.
That was beautiful.
That's what you guys do.
I need this recording.
And when you get exposed for the liar that you are, you say, so do you. That is not how you put together an effective worldview. Nobody's going to be convinced. I don't know you guys shit. Fuck off. Nobody's going to be convinced by that. Run away, huh?
There you go. That was absolute gold. Well done, everyone. In the future, I think JJ should be auto muted when someone's about to powder keg.
I second that.
I third that.
Oh my goodness, this might have been better than the vegan.
I stick for that.
Yeah, you're right. I usually get to it before, but
It is not better than vegan.
I'd appreciate it if you had my back.
Nothing can beat the vegan freakout.
Oh my god, no, that was better because it was sustained. Vegan freakout had magnitude. This had longevity.
This is like a 9 on the Shitka scale.
Oh god, I'm crying. I'm still crying.
What about?
I can't wait for this upload.
I'm gonna download the shit out of this.
What about like if in the middle of the debate you have like an aha moment or something, and you just like calm down, and you're like, you just said something that really really resonated with me. You said repeats like some dumb thing they say, and then you're like, that made me realize that maybe my beliefs aren't absolutely correct in God. Like, can you talk to me about? And then you like get him on the hook for like another minute or two, get him doing a nice.
I had I noticed something interesting. There are some times where you can say, "Calm down, sir," or "Please calm down," something like that, and it'll sort of like it's like a slap in the face, and they're like, "Whoa, I'm getting really worked up, and like I need to like really reel it back." So if you want someone to powder keg in that situation, and they're one of those types of people, you don't want to say that to them, right? But the other type of person is like the Gus type of person, right? Or this guy, he was one of those types of people. When you tell them to calm down, it makes things worse.
They go
irate.
I will get this out. I will get this out. I will get this out. I will. That's my Gus impression.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So when Layla told him, calm down, he just went crazy. He told Layla, fuck you.
No, fuck
I'm hurt.
you.
Deeply.
Well, Layla deserves it. She's
Sir.
a terrible person. It's not because she just said calm down at the right moment.
Layla couldn't even hold it in. Like every time she interjected, it was like she was on the verge of puking because she was laughing so hard.
Flip-flop danger redefining words. Words don't have an inherent definition. Words are descriptions for thoughts. Excuse me, sir, please, calm down. No, fuck you. You calm down.
See what I mean?
You calm down. That's super effective.
I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this fact, but I fucking love each and every one of you. You're all cunts.
Tom, did Layla tell you about how she shit all over these people this morning for like fucking 2.5 hours?
Alina.
Well,
Jesus.
Well, I left Discord on, and I was awoken like 2-3 times maybe of Leela in her like that voice that tone that she gets when she's basically telling you fucking piece of shit.
Dude, check this out. So she begged. She spent like fucking 20 minutes begging.
Oh, it was like
It was
wonderful.
Fucking begged this guy to share Kalina's fucking photos, right? She's like, why don't you do it? Just go ahead.
Beg is a strong word.
Fucking begged him, was like on her knees begging him, right? I shit you not. The fucking moment he shared those goddamn pictures, she says this, okay, now it's time to shit on you for being a terrible friend.
You couldn't have won anyway.
That's entrapment.
It was.
Kalina, was it 20 minutes? And I don't think it was begging. Look, I just asked your friend, hey, share the pictures. She shared them on a public forum. It's not a big deal. And then he did. I barely had to do anything.
Yeah, you're innocent in this, all right. I was there.
False.
Where is this fucking recording? I mean, I can't get my pants off fast enough for it.
Yeah,
I have to go. It's in my OBS, like my Twitch broadcast, but other people got it too.
Oh God.
Yeah, you should all sub to Chum's Twitch anyway.
Hey, thank you. Well, subbing costs money, but following.
I mean, follow. Yeah. Yeah, nobody's gonna sub to your channel.
I know they won't.
I would if he played Rust with me again. I would. So he can tell me what all's in my chest
So I
after I
can
just
repeat to
immediately
you
put it in there.
I'm so sorry, Michael. I didn't know that was bothering you, but also I'm
No,
a
it's cool.
fucking.
I thought it was funny. Like it just put in 1,000 stone and 1,000 wood. Chum would log in and go, "There's a chest with 1,000 wood and 1,000 stone in here." I'm like, "Yeah, just put it there, buddy. Thanks. Thanks for reminding me."
Oh, Fiction Fighter, give fuck all how long you're recording or whatever it is that you're uploading. When it's done, it's done. You're gonna fucking count it down to the second.
I'm sensing a little bit of enmity between two people here in this room right now.
Cal, I've seen pics of you, you fucking beast.
I think there needs to be an airing of grievances.
Yeah. No, I've seen pics of your flappy tits with no bra on out there getting wet.
Oi.
Definitely.
You look like a fucking monster.
Molly's the alpha here. Let's go get it right.
I have no justification for reality. Okay, I have zero. I have zero. Thank you. Hold on. Shut up.
Krill,
Hey, and when you're ready to mic up your cow, you can talk. But you being a side chat bitch, yeah, that story's over too.
This self-immolating line is really good.
I thought it was immolating.
Immolating.
Yeah, it's im. I'm pronouncing it John style.
Krill, I just wish I had what you had, dude.
A massive dick.
Well, that and the ability to.
Oh yeah, no.
Make people
I grew up with
proud
this ability. Everybody hates me. It's not very useful when you're growing up, but when you get older, turn it into something you use.
You can like aim it. Like before, you're not able to aim it. Everybody gets it.
Why the
But
fuck does everybody hate me? Just have this aura. It's concentrated into a laser beam. And Fiction, I care about updates on when the video's ready. Don't let Molly so mean to you all the time.
Which one?
Oh my god.
I'm picky about who I'm mean to.
She said a minute like 3 minutes ago, so it should be up, or at least processing.
Jesus.
Well, she figured out how to work a fucking mic so she can actually speak when she's recording instead of sitting in like a fucking moot donkey day after day.
No, fuck.
She's scared of becoming the lulz cow. That's why she won't get on mic.
Well, she's got the cow part down.
Fuck.
People, the video is live. I repeat, the video is live.
Cool.
How long is it? Where is it?
Oh, it says 4 minutes remaining for this one.
I'm already watching it and downloading it in 720.
On what?
My iPhone.
Can we get the link?
Where?
From where?
Oh,
YouTube.
Link it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm copying and I'm passing.
So I assume while I was being a good social friend, you guys were fucking triggering this shit out of some retard?
Yep.
You guys are terrible, guys. How dare you?
Yeah, this retard wasn't you.
Can you guys replay that so I can listen again? What the fuck?
Yeah, we're gonna need to skip this there.
Treated like,
sir.
I've been treated. No, don't. Fuck
Yeah,
you.
this
Don't
guy is
patronize
correct
me.
here.
Please.
Mind Fever is correct, and this is the only guy who knows what's
This
correct.
is horrible.
So here's the thing. Knowledge is facts, information, skills acquired by a person through experience, education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. It is the awareness or familiarity gained by experience of a fact or information. True, justified belief. I mean, what do you want?
Everybody
What
has
do you want?
access to the Google definition. We're talking about a philosophical context.
Yeah, I think
we're
that
having an
Mind Fever-
argument that could be reduced modally. You're not going to use a colloquial definition from Google and reduce that down in a modal argument. That's just ridiculous.
I'm not
right?
having a modal argument. I'm not. If that's what we're into, that's not what I'm doing. I don't give a shit about.
Well, he asked you about an ultimacy. Like he was asking you, like, what is your justified
your
belief
ultimate
that cannot break
justification
down?
for reality?
Look,
And
Mind
the
Fever.
answer is
My
you have
justification.
nothing.
My justification for
Look, Mind
hold on.
Fever. Mind Fever. Bud, listen.
Just because I don't have
Mind
anything, so
Fever,
let's go ahead and concede that point. I have no justification for reality.
Hold
I
on,
have
hold on.
no
Let's listen to
justification
Mind
for
Fever.
reality.
Go ahead, Mind Fever.
I have no justification for reality. Okay,
You're
I have
self-immolating.
zero. I have
This is what the-
zero.
Thank you.
Hold on. Shut up.
The has been reduced down to self-emulation.
Okay.
Look, Mind Fever.
Fucking princesses. Listen,
You have no justification for your worldview. This is
okay,
the
shut
ultimate
up!
worldview.
Let him talk.
Bud,
Sir, please.
Listen.
Sir.
When you're in the barber chair getting your hair cut, he might be really impressed with this Matt Dillahunty Atheist 101 stuff, but you're playing with the big boys, buddy, okay? It's not gonna fly here.
Look, Mind Fever.
Hey, Chalmer.
I am
Hey,
so
Chalmer.
close to
He's
level
so
up
mad
right now.
about
I
that.
look like just enough XP to do the job. So let's
So
keep going.
let me put it
It's
this way.
pronounced
You
tumor.
guys can you guys can rip apart my worldview all you want. Okay, I am perfectly willing to say I don't have a justification for it. That's
you
fine.
can't know anything.
No, it's not that I can't know anything because I experience things and I can build knowledge based on experience, right? Because knowledge is not.
Look, dude. The ultimacy of your reality lacks justification. You could be wrong about anything. Do you understand how you emulate?
Sure, but here's the thing: by demonstrating that, you don't show that your position is correct, and that's what we're talking about here.
Is that true?
Atheism.
By you making that statement, by you making the statement that you can't know anything, it is like a dog returning to his own
for one
vomit.
thing,
it is a self-defeating statement.
That's the point that you're trying to convince him of.
You're
defeating your own argument.
You can't know anything.
Here he comes again.
Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds?
Maybe it'll taste better a second time, bud.
He can't even defend his position.
Well, the thing is that in my position being indefensible is not a support of your position.
It's a tu quoque. What he's done here now
No.
is said, Krellman, Mr. Krellman.
Here's the thing. It's not a
Mr. Krellman.
It's not a two-okay fallacy. It's not. It's not because I'm not making a fucking claim.
Neither can you.
You fucking retard.
Sir, please. You've made the claim that you can critique and analyze my worldview for evidence supporting the hypothesis that there is a God.
Even though I have no definition or justification for reality, it doesn't change the fact that when you touch a fucking stove, it's hot. It doesn't change shit. It doesn't change anything. How do you justify your position?
This is all gobbledygook. You're being completely unreasonable.
How I sounded earlier with the
Yeah, my Fever. Yeah, show them, dude. You're correct. Let them know, dude.
Tasteless.
Mind Fever, you have no ultimacy of reality. Every statement that you make in your worldview
I do
is
have an ultimacy of
necessarily
reality. I
subject.
have cognition, and the cognition is able to.
You could be wrong about that. You've
But
already
so
stated.
could you.
See, it's a
If you're going to- hold on, stop for a second.
So do you.
Hold on for a second. I just got accused.
Excuse me, sir.
No, fuck off! I just got accused of making a two-cocaine fallacy. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking overtalk you because you fucking retards don't know how to ask a question and then wait for a fucking answer.
Because you
I
won't
tried to
answer
explain my
questions.
position. I've tried to explain my position 5 different times, and you guys keep interrupting me. No, fuck you.
Hey, should we, how about this?
Layla,
2K2.
always-
We can play 2K2.
That's what you guys are doing. That's what you guys are doing. I just got accused.
And when you get exposed for the liar that you are, you say, "So do you." That is not how you put together an effective
Goodbye.
worldview. Nobody's going to be convinced.
I don't
by
know
that.
you guys shit. Fuck off.
Nobody's going to be convinced by that.
Run away, huh?
Take care, buddy. Oh my god, that was great.
Oh my goodness, that was amazing.
That was
Yes.
great.
Guys, sit back and let me do my work, okay?
Sorry,
Jesus.
sorry, dude.
I had to mute Ludic. I had to mute Taste.
So many interrupters.
Spoil everything.
Christ.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, that was
really good.
We got to find a copy of the whole thing though.
Where's the video?
Tom got the one with the.
What I love is the artistry. I just love the artistry of Crow whenever he trolls people. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Silent, I said that in chat. Stop writing my never mind.
I'm not even reading chat.
Just chill.
Yeah, I have the file I have is 58 minutes long. It's like from when he first came in.